Hello and welcome to my first live with Emily, our first live together, but we have known each other for quite a bit now on Substack. And we are on our healing journeys together. Today, we are so excited. Hi, Emma, to bring you some exciting news that both of us have gotten our journals finally out there for you guys to lavish in and look within, and help you, just help guide you on your healing journeys. Today, we're going to be diving deep into why and how we actually even wrote a journal, how you can, because I think, in fact, I'm certain that so many of you out there have a book within you. And you probably are overthinking or questioning yourself how to do it. And we are here to kind of spur you on in that through our own experiences. And we're also just going to tap into the power of journaling on your healing journey, how that really does heighten your awareness in healing yourself and your surroundings. And also, we're going to touch on Healing Hearts Hub, which is my online community, and Emily's been part of since the start, and how effectively you can heal exponentially when you are in a community with like-minded people that are on their healing journeys, already actively seeking out small steps to better yourself, to heal yourself in ways that maybe on your own it's too hard to do. And so we're hand in hand together in this. So yeah, we're super excited to be with you today. Do, generously comment or be in conversation with us, as that's the whole point in a live. And yeah, we love coming together and speaking with you guys. So I would think the first things first is, where did our journals come from? Like, why do you even need to journal on your healing journey? And we've both got journals. So, I wonder why or where did it come from with you, Emily? Like, where was kind of the starting point for you when you were like, yes, I've got to write a journal out and help other people heal?
Yeah, so my story is it was kind of like an epiphany, because I had this like collective moment of like a core memory that kind of resurfaced after I went through the darkest of my healing journey. And it was a memory of me saying, someday I'm going to write about this. And, I forgot about it. Life took its paths and courses. And there's this song lyric that says, every road has given me something. And I love to apply that to my life because I've done so many different things. Most recently in like the typical workforce, I was in social work. So that gave me a really good background in understanding how to reach people. And through that, I was really able to see that I was able to bring something that other people in the field weren't able to bring. And, it really resonated with my clients. And I worked with people all the way from like children up to, grown. And actually, when I was working with people within my own age range, I started to get the feeling of, I don't think I'm really in a place to be like preaching when I'm not practicing it. You know what I mean? And at the same time, my body was telling me it was time to put it down. I developed POTS, which is an autonomic dysfunction. So I had like a whole system reset for a long while. And then when I realized I wanted to write the book, it was like a full circle moment. I was just sitting at my desk one day and I was just reflecting on all I'd done to get to the point where I was. And the memory came back and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to write the book. and from there, it, turned its way into a workbook, a journal, an interactive journal. So it took on so many phases and stages. And now she's out and she's lovely.
So how would you say that journaling helped you, like in that darkest time of your healing?
The funniest thing was that I didn't journal during
Oh,
that
wow.
time.
Okay.
Yeah, so when I was kind of past it, outside of it, reflecting on it, I was like, how did I do this? Because
Yeah.
I knew already that I wanted whatever I had done worked. So I wanted to share it. So I kind of went back and retraced my steps and realized that for me, a lot of healing came through metaphors or visualizations, and really mapping out my mind and emotions. So from that, I just took that and ran with it, and I kind of dug up all the metaphors that I had in my mind, and I put them to page.
Nice. So it was kind of like a post healing that you wanted to give back to others so they wouldn't have to like trudge
Exactly.
through it all. Wow.
Exactly.
That's so nice because I think a lot of people are like know what's good for them. I mean, me included, right? And then sometimes it's just not accessible in that moment. Like, I don't know about you, but I journal mostly. I mean, nowadays I journal more because it's more of like a tool to speak to my future self. I go through a lot of phases of why I journal and how, but I would say for the lengthy part of my life so far, I've only journaled when I'm going through negative emotions like anger, frustration. Then I have to get to the journal and just like write it out. And it's just like, let it out. But I find it so interesting that sometimes it's like one of those tools of ours, but you just go through phases. And I just kind of like to bring that up because I know a lot of people feel pressured with journaling. It's like, oh, I have to do it every day in the morning and the night, write a gratitude list. No, like you have to just listen to yourself. And when you feel you need it, I think it's all about that attention, right? Then open your book and just journal. Um,
Absolutely. And I think the one thing I really find special about what I wrote is that, it was for me like a year and a half long process. So the book is not meant to be rushed through, and I think that's a really big component in the healing journey as well, is spending adequate time
yeah.
with all of these emotions and memories that come up. Because truly, we can remember them, but if we don't give them the love and the space that they need, they're still going to stay there.
That's such a good point, and I love that you raised that because it definitely is intertwined with my journal now. So basically, I wrote my self-help book, Go Out and Cheer Up, when I was 21, so nearly 10 years ago now, which is crazy. um, yeah, when I was grieving my best friend, and it was in honor of him, but also to just help others really nurture this mindset that I'd always had, this optimistic state. And like you just said, it's split into 10 chapters. So the first five are, our negative emotions that we mostly go through, like the fear, the pressure, the doubt. Um, and then the five other chapters are more around positive attributes to life, connection, solitude, nature. And so basically, my journal has now come from a place of noticing that a lot of people have read my book, and I'm so grateful. But I really noticed that time and time again, with self help books, generally speaking, you can read it, but how do you apply it? So you can read like all the books under the sun if you like, to do with mindset. But then when you finished it, it's like, oh, but where are the techniques for me to apply these tools into my personal life? And so I really, noticed also just generally speaking with people that read self-help books are like, yeah, I mean, it's good, but what, like for me, it's not really bringing me anything. So I was like, oh, I'm going to write a journal. Because as you know, journaling for me has always been such a healing tool through all of my ups and downs in life. And so this basically mirrors my self-help book. So we have fear, and I just like bring in prompts as to how you can defeat your fear with faith, for example. And there's also a page with every chapter that is dedicated to the pages you can turn to. in Chill Out and Cheer Up. So it's basically a mirror that you can like do it hand in hand. And like you just, pointed, it's not about rushing through it and going through it. Because a lot of people I noticed in the past few years that have read my book love it. And they're like, yeah, and it's on my desk and I'll just like flick through it when I need it. Like I can't just like read through it like properly. And I'm like, oh, that's so lovely. So it's like with the journal, it's even better because it's like a deeper dive. So it's like if one day you're feeling a lot of pressure, then open up to the pages about pressure. But then if maybe you don't know where to look, that's why I brought my journal into it, because it's like, on this page you can, there's a poem about pressure, or, like what kinds of pressure you're going through, and then you can journal with it. And it's also coloring pages in it where I've taken like quotes out of my book. And so you can just color while, you've read, or for it to all kind of go in. Because as you know, like I think it's a great technique to color, especially affirmations, so that you can truly rewire your brain. So for me, it was more about how do I bring my self-help book into an actual tool that you can apply in your daily life. And I think that now for me is really like, wow, worked. It's just about getting it out there now, right? Like bringing them both together, because I've actually never seen a self-help book with a journal. Um, so yeah, I'm really proud of myself. But as you, Emily, it's like one of those that you've worked on for so long. Like I worked on it for like a year now, and then it was like, Grace, get it out there. So my journal is on Gumroad. So it's just an e-journal, but you can print the pages. So I was thinking more of coloring pages, plus environmentally friendly. We don't always need journals as a paperback, because I feel like you can just also use your own notebook. Is yours available just as an e-journal or also as a paperback?
Yeah, so mine is just as an e-journal, and I did that for a couple of reasons. But first I want to loop back to something you said. I love the way that you put it together so uniquely because, that was kind of my mindset as well. It was, I've read the self-help books, I've, listened to the snippets, I've done this, that. And, for those it works for, great. For me, I needed something deeper. You know what I mean? So I knew I wanted to create something that I had never seen before. So I kind of took all the elements that worked for me
Okay.
best and I applied them in the book. So that was really cool. And yeah, so as far as having it available, it is exclusively on digital format. And I did that for a couple reasons. Eco-conscious, obviously, shipping and production costs, obviously, and privacy, which is really big for me. So, like I said before, when I was going through my darkest stuff, I didn't journal because I was really worried about somebody happening upon it and being like, oh my God, what is going on in this girl's mind? So I really didn't feel safe to do that. So with the digital version, you have it saves to your PDF files as soon as you download it. Um, it saves to your PDF file. So you can lock that password protected any way you want. And, it's interactive right there in the document. So it gives like an extra level of comfort, I think, that if you're going through deep healing journeys like we have, that's a really valuable peace of mind.
Such a valid point. I remember you've raised this before, like with the confidentiality. And I remember I said to you, my mum read through my diaries and journals when I was a kid all the time.
Yes.
And I really remember that got me. Like, even I then got a journal with a lock on, I remember.
Right.
Like I've journaled since I was a kid, and I think that really stuck with me too. And when you said that, I was like, that's such a good point that I hadn't even thought of in digital form, that you have that safety. So I was like, oh, that's such a good point that you raise. Because these days it's true. I mean, our journals are available for teenagers through to adults, because you go through all these emotions and phases of your life, so you can always tap back into it. But it's about like, yeah, not having it just lay around for anyone to, pick up. And if you have it on your phone, your iPad, or whatever, like you just said, you can do it password protected. And I think that's so unique and special too in itself, because if you just said as well that you didn't trust yourself to journal back then because of how, grave and maybe damaging your thoughts were, that you are now able to translate that into digital form, that is so precious. Like I really, yeah, I really appreciate that that's what you're giving people in that sense as well. Like it's not only just a safe space for them to journal, but it's their space that no one else has to read, no one else has to go through, and that extra added, lock, let's say, invites you to truly dive deep. Because isn't that the most beautiful thing about journaling? That we are just allowed to, no judgment, non-judgmental flow of just a mind dump, I like to call it. And through that, you can like reflect and realize so much about yourself. Like if you're watching this and you've never journaled, boy, are you missing out. Like, but it's not too late. Our journals are out there, ready for you to dive into. I'd like to know about what techniques you've included in your journal, because you were saying some things that are unique and that you've never seen in other journals before.
Yeah, so it's every healing component goes through it really ties in like my social work background there. It ties into how I would talk directly to someone working through this. So my qualm with other books is when they say, you should do this or you might feel this or this. I was really careful to not include anything like that, and just provide a space using we language, because I didn't want us to feel preachy. You know what I mean? So I broke the journal into 3 phases. The
Okay.
first stage is assessing the damage, which is essentially looking around and saying, okay, where I am now is the product of what I've done. Am I happy here? What needs to be adjusted? Phase 2 is getting real with yourself, and that is a deep dive into the past. So this is, early encounters, deep triggers, secondary emotions. And then the third phase is showing up for yourself. And here we explore boundaries, how to learn what they feel like inside your body, how to communicate them with others, and how to stay consistent with yourself in order to achieve the future that you deserve.
Ooh, I like that. It's kind of like a past, present, future feel to
Absolutely.
it. Yeah,
Absolutely.
because it's so true. It's just so multi-layered healing in itself. And you can't ignore one part to, jump over because it will come up. Like you said about emotions before, it's the same with kind of parts of your life or versions of yourself, if you know what I mean. Like I've really noticed
Definitely.
that through therapy and journaling myself, like how forgiving all of these versions of myself has really helped me move on. Um so I love that you kind of embody all that. And I really love that you just said about kind of this somatic healing aspect. How does it feel in your body? Because that's a lovely reflection that you can raise while you're journaling. I've actually never thought of it like that. So that's really
Yeah,
interesting.
I think, getting diagnosed with POTS gave me a hand in that because my nervous system was so dysregulated. All of my emotions and all of my physical, like anxieties were manifesting very heavily.
Yeah.
So when I would get triggered, I would be able to tell exactly where it was. So, although I've never really done deep somatic work, I think I've touched on it enough, to learn my body. And it's definitely something I am interested in exploring a bit more.
Yeah. Hi, Maddie. Thanks for being here. Anyone that's just joined, we are now talking about our journals. Both of us have brought out healing journals in different manners, and we are kind of laying it out for you today about how they can specifically help you in your healing journey, no matter where you are in that. And I don't know about you, Emily, but when I just say healing journey a lot, I'm like, oh, Grace, because like I do feel like it just takes on so many phases and seasons, and I don't think you'll ever be fully healed. I think you just kind of roll through different vibrations and lessons that healing wants to translate into your heart, into your life. And so yeah, I think with my journal specifically now, like I was saying before, it's really about, and also in relation to what you just said, it's really about tapping into your body and your mind and your heart and noticing, okay, what emotion right now in my life, in my current affairs, is really taking a lot of space. And if that's pressure, fear, or doubt, which are the big three, I would say, in a lot of our lives and society these days, then you can turn to my journal and see, pressure, doubt, fear. And if you want to dive more into it, then I have this page that is dedicated to what the pages you can turn to in my self-help book. And that's how they go kind of hand in hand for you to really dive deep. But what I really love about this is that there are just so many journals out there. However, I feel that Emily and I, we have a flair, like a very unique flair with our journals that we've created for you guys, because it's come out of our personal experience of truly healing ourselves. And that means feeling as well. Like I also pushed down a lot of emotions for a while, which is not a good idea. So, in the end, they will knock on your door, knock on your body. Like Emily was also just saying, they will flare up in a chronic way, pain, if not in other manifestations. And so the tool really is in both of our journals is to tap into that awareness before it's too late, and be able to come to a space of stillness and just not judge yourself. And that's why Emily was also tapping into the fact of how she brought your language into it. Like, there's no should, there's no could. It's a very like we orientation. And a lot of people, which is my favorite compliment, and I'm so, so grateful, say that, in Chill Out and Cheer Up, my self help book, that I speak like a friend. And that really is the best compliment, because I'm not here as a guru to say to you, like, yeah, you've got to do this and you've got to do this. You've got to wake up at 5 a.m. and drink a freaking green smoothie. Like, no, like the ironic part of it is that I actually had my self-help book on the back burner for 4 years because my limiting beliefs got the best of me and told me that no one would read it. So I just also want to raise that, because if you have a book out there, like, people want to read it. Like, I promise you, no matter what it is.
Yeah.
And it was actually when I was in the mental clinic that there was no better time than now. I was like, I'm just going to self-publish it now. And I was able to write my introduction from the clinic and be like, hey, so here I am as a well-being coach and a yoga teacher and a self-help writer, but I'm also going through shit and I've broken down. So here I am. And I think that actually really like resonated more with people, as you can imagine, because it was like, oh, this is coming from a real place. And I don't know about you, but when you see like these journals and self-help books from like gurus and bestsellers, you do put them on a pedestal. And I don't want you to put us on a pedestal. We are regular people going through regular shit and realizing that our worth actually is there. And I think that is something that I would like to tap into, that when you journal, you become so aware that you are worthy of love, you are worthy of all of these amazing feelings. And when you journal, you really come to these realizations that, hey, just like conditioning and limiting beliefs that have been holding me back the whole time, right? So yeah, what's your opinion on that?
Yeah. I love what you were saying about, the journals having a personal touch to them, and coming at it from like a friend
Yeah.
point of view. When I was writing the passages that go along with each mind map, I imagined, what I would say if I was just sitting at a table with someone talking about what was in front of us. And I think, it comes off in a really special way. It's not presented like I'm a doctor or a guru or, there's something, and I think especially the way society is moving, we want that authenticity. I don't want somebody to tell me about their clients and stats. Um, like, how do you know this is going to work? If you haven't been there, you know, I don't want to say don't speak on it, but you know, how many doctors have dismissed me over, the physical things that were happening in my body and they said it was nothing.
I
You
feel
know what
that.
I mean?
Yeah. Especially as women, we are not taken seriously then.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you want to talk a little bit about Healing Hearts Hub and what we kind of want to do for our journals over there and what we want to do for the community?
Yeah. That's a great shift in energy. So, Healing Hearts Hub is my online community for dedicated people on their healing journeys, actively seeking support from people that get it, not necessarily everyone in your surroundings and, in your social circles understand you, and that's absolutely fine. I've noticed just connecting in my community with these strangers all around the world, which I think is amazing too, that we're all around the world, can understand me better sometimes. And it's just like so ironic if you think about it. So yeah, it's this safe space for us to come together and work hand in hand in small steps. Because I've also noticed, as a holistic healer for the past fair few years, that it really is the small steps that count. And we build on these kind of small steps daily, be that Thankful Thursday, like today, expressing our gratitude for things in our lives. On Mondays, we talk about small goals that we want to set for the week. And these aren't goals that, society has kind of led us to think, are the all end all and be all. They're more like small intentional goals. So this week it's a lot about the gut. So how are you inviting healthy eating into your life more this week? And I know that the more you focus on, the more it grows. So that's kind of the basic intentional foundation of Healing Hearts Hub, that we're all there together to spur on this growth together. Because I've noticed that, I'll take the example of walking with one of our members. She was so determined to just walk every day. And I think it's definitely because we were all there, like, yeah, you can do it. And I think also just writing and sharing with people, you feel that accountability more, don't you? Like when I
Yeah.
took out my coffee and I told you guys that, I was like, oh no, I have to stick to it now because I told everyone.
Yeah, yeah, those are the points I was gonna highlight as well, Grace, like, the routines and the themes, like, when you're in a community like that for just a couple of weeks, you start to wake up and be like, "It's Wellness Wednesday," or "It's Thankful Thursday," you know what I mean? And, the encouragement from others absolutely helps, not in a way that I think serves the ego, but just in a way that you feel validated in this journey. Like we said at the beginning, some parts, you can get so far, but then you might hit a wall. And I think having a good core community alleviates so much of that and helps with confidence and accountability. So I love it. I love the space.
And feeling like it's actually, I think that was the biggest motivator of all for me, because when I went through my darkest days I felt so alone. Of course I did have my support system, and my family and friends are the best, but I felt like they didn't understand me because maybe they hadn't been through the depression and the psychosis that I've been through. um and just kind of like all of those layers. And I felt very like, I did feel a lot of shame when I was trying to share how I felt. And so I really noticed that last year I had this like real calling on the inside because I've always done workshops and courses with people and I love, meditation and all of this. But then I always noticed they came to an end. And then this kind of whole community feel in our society has very much like gone up now because loneliness is an epidemic worldwide. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to act on this calling to really bring us all together for a longer duration of time. Because the more we build together, the more we get through together, the stronger our relationships grow. But not only that, it's like studies show we heal exponentially together because I mean, we're all in one consciousness if we want to like get to the grit of it, right? So, like, the more I feel harmony and health, the more you will. Like, we are what we attract. And so, I love that you also mentioned that every day, and that's always the same. Like I always now have every day a same theme. So you know what's coming, you know what you can prepare yourself for. And like Emily just touched on, routine and discipline are so like such massive factors on your healing journey or in general in life. You know what I mean? Because they are the core of your success. Like being dedicated to your self-discipline, and also forgiving yourself on days that you're not. It's also fine. I just want to say that
Yeah.
it's not
And
about
that's also great, a great part about Healing Hearts Hub, because when we do have a bad day, like it's a safe space for us to come and say, "Hey guys,
yeah, it's
today
true.
wasn't great." And there's just it's like a group hug of be like, "It's okay. Like you don't
Yeah,
have to be perfect every day." And that encouragement is what fuels us the next day.
yeah,
So that, and I also wanted to highlight the meditations that we do,
yeah.
because touching on like the one consciousness, like those meditations are next level. If you guys haven't done like an online meditation, 10 out of 10 recommends.
Especially in a group environment, like I've
Yeah.
really noticed, like giving meditations and, part of my yoga classes, that you do really feel the energy in the room, um, like rise, like your high vibrations. And then I was like so intrigued that when we're all together online, that it still works, that you still feel like you're in like the same kind of dimension and field of gratitude and harmony. We basically meet every Thursday at the same time, for only 15 minutes, which if you know meditation, you'll know that that is literally like the best amount of time. You don't have to meditate an hour or 2 hours every day. Like, let's be real. And that's also what we want to highlight in Healing Hearts Hub. Like Emily just said, we're real. Like we don't want to put so much pressure on you. Like it's more about being real at our core as human beings and forgiving ourselves, but showing up anyway. And yeah, I just wanted to also touch on that. And so, because today I was also thinking, because it's Thankful Thursday, and last week we did the gratitude meditation, I think I'm going to more carry on with that. Like, because when you really focus on gratitude in your meditations, it becomes way more a habit. And I've noticed a lot of people struggle with gratitude. Like these lists are quite toxic, I've noticed in my surroundings of people, like their feedback that they've given me, like, oh, I don't know what else to write, or it's just the same stuff. And so, yeah, this kind of also brings forth that feeling of a habit that gratitude really can be. Anyway, we also wanted to share is in Healing Hearts Hub, because Emily and I have now written our journals and put them out there for you guys, we've also noticed there's a lot of people out there. I mean, especially on Substack, we're all writers, right? um, who have a book inside of them, who have a journal inside of them and want to write it and want to publish it, but maybe just don't know how, because I know there's a lot of questioning and a lot of limiting beliefs in itself do rise up when you do this, because passion project, it's from your heart. So of course they're going to rise up, right? And so we want to be there for you to extend our support from our experience. And we're thinking of bringing workshops in Healing Hearts Hub for those people that know they have something within them and they want to write it. And we're going to like bring these workshops, yeah, to enlighten you, to brighten up your your path of knowing, okay, I've got to do this and this, because there are many steps. It's not just, I think the creative part, the creation part is the easiest, Emily, wouldn't you? Actually, I feel
There's
that, but
so much that goes into
go
it.
on.
There's just so
Go
much
on.
that goes into it. It can be so overwhelming.
Yeah,
And, especially if you're the type of creative who has like a grand idea first and then has to build up to it. That's how I am. And I will tell you, it I would drive myself crazy. Absolutely crazy. So obviously the intention always is how can I help others in a way that I needed help. So I
okay.
think that our workshops are going to be great for that, whether it's like designing or how to write it or what tools to use or what self-publishing looks like. We're going to have a lot of valuable content in there.
Totally. I just thought to myself, we could even write this up in articles soon to get it all on the roll.
Yeah, we
Because,
could do that.
like you just said, I think it's one of those that it does essentially come from a place of passion to help others go through something that you've gone through, essentially. I mean, that's kind of why we're all writers, right? Like you use it as a tool to go through what you're going through, but in essence help people at the same time. And I think sometimes that can be so trivialing for you because you're like, oh my gosh, this is like I've had that too. It's so vulnerable. And it can be very hard to open your heart online. And with that at the start, when you've done it, because, I've been in this for 5 years, so I don't give a shit anymore. But like, I also remember at the start, it was like, what are people going to think? How is this going to come on? I'm being so vulnerable. And then I really noticed, oh, wow, vulnerability is my superpower. Like you were saying before, authenticity will always shine through at its highest and will always invite others to be seen and heard. And essentially, that is all what we want.
Yes. Yeah. That's really well said. I'm so grateful to be like at this point where like the hard work is done and now we just get to kind of frolic around and share it.
Yes, that is what we're doing. And Emily and I have also, as accountability partners in this little mission of ours, bringing our journals out into the world, we're printing stickers out. So it's super exciting. It's like really like you do have to put yourself out in the world. Because I tell you, like, if you self publish or even if you publish with a publisher, it does not mean that people are going to come queuing at your door. Like, I just want to be as real. If you make a course, if you make an ebook, if you make like anything online and you just put it out there, no one's just going to go and get it. Like, you have to market yourself. It's a whole different tale if you think about it, right?
It
Because it's
really
like I feel
is.
like you've been really battling with that recently too. It's like, oh, but I've already done it. So like, where are all the people now? And it's like, girl, this is the next phase. Like, we got to just keep going and get it out there. So it's like, how do you then go through all these layers of the onion of like getting your work out there and helping people spreading that piece? So Emily and I obviously want to share that with you. This is like a bit of a, snippet today to share with you. But as we said, we do definitely want to bring these workshops into my online community, Healing Hearts Hub, which is free for you to join for the first month. So you get a first trial month to see if it fits your feet. Fits your feet? No, that's not it. Fits your flow. Find your feet. So you can find your feet and fit your flow. You know me and my alliteration, Emily.
I
Put
love
together.
it. I love it.
So yeah, you are warmly welcomed in. And yeah, the more we get the balls kind of rolling, the more we're gonna bring also workshops. And we also have Nick with his human design, which I really want him to get back on the go because we just kind of had a little intro into that. So there's just so much going on there, and we have a lot to offer, and you do too. I think that's also why we're here today to remind you that your voice matters as well. And Emily and I have brought our journals out for you to find your voice as well, because also the more you journal, the more you notice how unique you are. And that is also, yeah, a very big playing factor in this, that don't compare yourself. You know, Emily and I could compare each other, but we know our journals are so different from another. They're not just those plain ass journals that you get from ChatGPT and you put on Amazon. No, like we have put our heart and soul into these journals for you to truly heal. And, you know, that's why we're here today to share that with you. These journals took us a long time to create. I don't know about you, but it took me like a year. And I also collaborated with an artist. So she's drawn all of my drawings on the inside for you to color in. So yeah, it's not just these easy ass books, coloring books and journals out there these days that you just get from ChatGPT, right? Like these are essentially from our souls.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And that's something I can't really pay any attention to, like the books that just come out easy through ChatGPT and get put on websites for sales. So frustrating. Like the book itself was 14 plus months of, from start to production, everything. And like you were saying before, even promoting it and getting it out there, like
A
the
whole
universe doesn't
different.
just get the memo that your book is done. Like, you have to go shouting it from the rooftops.
And that is like also another uncomfortable discomfort, like stepping out your comfort zone in another area, another, like it's a total other layer, isn't it? You're like, oh, I thought
Yeah.
I, and no, girl, no, boys, like
Just
you
in a
gotta,
phase.
yeah, you gotta get yourself out there. And that, I think that is the biggest part that people probably struggle with, because of the ego, because of, you know, the need to be seen, but also not to be seen, and you know, all of those trivial. Why am I saying trivial? Trivialing factors? Is that the word?
Trivial.
Trivial. Thank you. See, I'm a writer, but I also still get words wrong.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, to wrap this up, would you like to say anything at the end, my dear?
Uh,
Where is your journal available, for example?
yeah, so my journal is available at my website, hippienessis.com. Everything can be found in my profile here on Substack. Um, yeah, it is undergoing a little bit of construction right now, so you might see it change over the next few days. Um, but yeah, as we were saying, Grace, nothing too crazy. Everything is good, everything works. Just a few like bows and ribbons here and there, and I give it all to you guys.
Oh, that's so sweet. Yeah, I actually realized I don't have a link to my journal on my Substack, so today is the day. It's official. Yes, and as I've mentioned, my e-journal is meant to go hand in hand with my self-help book, but can also be on its own because it basically mirrors the chapters from a self-help book: pressure, doubt, fear, solitude, connection, all of that, that you can just open up to whenever you're feeling the feels, whenever you're going through certain situations, to just tap into that awareness, bring more love, bring more grace and kindness in. And it's available on Gumroad, which I've actually only found out through Substack, which is cool because I've noticed a lot of Substack has been on there, and I was like, this is a sign. So I went for it. It's a really nice site. And yeah, Emily and I will be talking more about this now and inviting you into Healing Hearts Hub, which is a community, a safe space for those dedicated actively on their healing journeys, searching for more support and for more ways to integrate healthy habits that last, because that's really what it's all about. So yeah, thank you for joining us today. So happy. And yeah, we hope you have fun journaling.
Yes, and we'll be back a few times this month and definitely more over the summer to talk about maybe some more specific aspects of the book, of our journals. So if you want to hear anything specific, then, always feel free to reach out to either one of us.
Yeah. Sweet. Then take care of
All right.
yourself.
You too. Bye bye,
Ciao.
everyone.